game leadership, it was kind of always me. But Has and Hesh were really good administration people, and Has in particular, in terms of getting to know people and making people relaxed and enjoy the game. He was always a bit of a memer, so we
Yeah.
tended to laugh at Has a lot, and Hess would do a lot of the administration work. So initially it was me, Hess and Has led the 6D, and
Very familiar
as
sounding
far as
name.
I can remember, yes.
Sounds like they're brothers in some sense.
Well, yeah, they
Um,
they had known each other for a long time, so I guess you could say that they'd known each other a lot longer than they'd known me. But
wow.
eventually they became loyal to me. It has to this day is still loyal, still comes around every so often, but he's pretty much too busy. Has moved on, different regiment.
Um, Now, for some more competitive things, how was the adventure and the competitive side of the 60? Like, what were some highlights of failures and successes?
Well, as the earliest I can remember is in NWL, and this was when the 60 was only starting out competitive. We got completely trashed by the 45E, like 10-0.
Ooh, yeah, they
Completely
probably
trashed.
made you
And
feel
we just
great
didn't
after
have any
that.
good melee. Well, we had some okay guys, but we
Uh-huh.
were completely outclassed in terms of leading and melee because I was still learning how to lead.
Yeah.
And there was not much we could do. The 45 we were experienced, really good melee line at the time. And as the earliest, you know, journey into the competitive side of things. But eventually we kind of progressed into trainings. We got into the habit of doing trainings before every event for about an hour. Well, it started off, we would get on at 7 Eastern, even though events would only start at 8, and we do it like an hour's training because everybody wanted to get better. And eventually we got to a point where my leading had improved and we were starting to beat a few people. And the one result I can remember that was way back when was we actually got our first, well, might not have been our first, but we got our first NWL 10-0 win against the 1TS. I think it was led by Andy, I think, and
Yeah, or
or a guy,
Dukers, one of
yeah,
those
Andy
guys.
or Dukers. I think it was one of their guys. I don't know if it was us being good on the day or them being bad on the day, but we beat them like 10-0 at the end of the NWL, despite having been crapped on by everybody else. And that was the initial competitive journey.
Now, I want to talk more about some scandals about you because that, of course, that does follow when you hear the name Irish. Could you talk a little bit about NAPL with Maniac and that whole thing that happened? Because I never really got too involved in it, but I did hear that was like a big deal back then.
Oh, yeah, NAPL, we had this was about 2 years or maybe a year and a half ago, and
I'll cut it.
we had a really good grand line at the time. I think people like Ramelon had
Uh-huh.
joined. Yeah, I think he was originally 6'3", and he had joined Dodge's 23rd. You were also in, and he brought along some other guys, and we kind of combined them with our existing good mailers, and we had a pretty decent line, and we were pretty much beating everybody in NAPL because we'd improved to a point where my leading was pretty good in 1v1s, and our melee was solid. And when it came to NAPL, our main competition was the LG. And me being me, I was kind of really ambitious, and I really badly wanted to win, even though it was only NAPL and not NWL.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just eager to have our best lineup available. And Maniac at the time had joined. He had left USMC, but the rule was you gotta have to wait a week, as far as I remember. And we didn't want to wait a week because we were so paranoid about the melee, because Maniac is an outstanding mailer. We didn't really want to lose any of our guys,
Mm-hmm.
so we got him to change his name. Completely forgetting about a GOID sort of things, and ended up beating the LG 6-4.
Mm-hmm.
And they just found out about it afterwards that we had used a player that was illegal, and we were forced to. Well, it was ordered that we'd replay the match, but at the time the damage was done. I was actually sick, like incredibly sick for a week at a time. I was not doing any events. I was not playing the game at all, and I just heard this on Steam that we got caught for using that player, and we lost a good few of our Grens. We lost Ramlan, we lost Nicole. And I kind of we disbanded the regiment after that because I was extremely sick at the time, and I just couldn't be bothered trying to repair it. And we had a very long hiatus after that.
So I want to get in right now a little bit more on your character in the sense as a leader, with the good and the bad, and you can correct me where I go wrong, because I think that's important too, to be able to paint a picture for each individual. And I want to do this kind of as the series goes on to kind of, I guess, analyze everyone, so you can say if I'm wrong or not, and I'd be happy to hear.
Sure.
You're very focused and driven on being able to achieve your goals, and I think it was kind of like. And I think you can admit now, that was older me, and I think I was wrong then. But win at all cost, and that the ends justify the means. So, letting him in, I'm sure now that you'd say that would be a bad call. Am I wrong? Would you still do that again if you could, or like?
Oh no, I wouldn't still do it again. No, of course not. You wouldn't want to do that.
Of course, you're saying that on camera, so obviously you'd say that. There you go. Or
different
video
things backstage.
Or
no, I wouldn't do it again. I was just really focused on, at the time, well, I still kind of do have the philosophy of we're a newer enough regiment, and the older generation of this game, what I considered melee bandwagons, whether they were melee bandwagons or not, I identified the enemy as the older generation of players who kind of looked, well, I felt they kind of looked down on us and never considered us as actual competitive regiments, and I wanted to be able to disprove that. And I was so paranoid, and I wanted to win so badly that I just didn't care and just played him. But looking back, obviously I know,
didn't you disband the 60E after that?
Yeah, I disbanded straight after, but that was more out of I was pissed at what happened, obviously, because people had left, and I had no power over talking to them because I was extremely sick at the time. So I just kind of got fed up, and we disbanded for a while. I don't remember exactly how long. But
now, how'd you come back to the community?
About a month later, because as we all do, at the time I was so adamant that I was going to stop playing.
I know, it happened to me too.
I unfriended a lot of people, and I said to PlayDog, "Oh, it's just post that we're going to disband and whatever. It's on FSC if you want to look at it."
I can tell you that week I was really happy because when you disbanded, I think the 45E disbanded at the same time. So for 1 week, the AF was the best regiment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just you and the LG. Yeah, but as I was saying, if I can remember what I was saying, a month later, I kind of re-added everybody and kind of wanted to try it again. And I think it was after this, the next major event, we just kind of carried on as a casual regiment for a bit. Still try to do some 1v1s, but weren't too active on that scene until we I think we merged with the NR7 that time. It was led by Deadeye. They're like an old, mostly competitive regiment who had just come back, and we fought them in a 1v1, and we beat them, and it was a friendly. And after that, I kind of suggested maybe we should merge, and we kind of got along really well. Turns out after a month or two, they weren't really up for it after a couple of months, and we went our separate ways. And that was the only major event in the 60 for a good bit. The timeline in my head is all muddled because we did end up disbanding again, more out of I was sick of the game. I was way too tired. I was spending so much time with the regiment trying to do events, obviously the European thing all over again. So I disbanded again, and that was the second time we disbanded. And I took a hiatus again. I kind of went around joining other regiments. I remember joining 63 at the time. And well, it was on the European side as well. I had left 84th, I think, and had a great time in the 63 actually. It was mostly the European side of things I was doing.
Of the 63, you said?
Yeah, 63.
Oh, I didn't know you were in the 63.
It was very short-lived. So, which leads me on to another piece of controversy, which the 63 had an issue with, was the 63 Grenadier Company on the European side were not very happy at the time. or at least a guy called Tim, who was sergeant major. He wanted to form his own regiment, and I kind of said, "Sure, I'll help you," because I wanted to kind of stick with that group of guys that I'd bonded with, and a lot of them left and made the 15E on the European side of things, and I was second in command of it, and because I was trying to recruit, 63 guys, because that's where the majority of his player base came from. The 63 eventually were like, okay, you're banned from everything, your regiment's banned from everything, and when we reformed the 60 again, they pretty much carpet banned us from everything, all their servers, all their events, and kind of had a long-term rivalry with 63 for a good bit.
So, as I'm going to call you out right there, that is poaching. So what are your thoughts on like poaching?
Well, at the time, it's not it's not a very good thing to do in terms of people respecting you and that. But at the time, I was so well on the European side of things, I didn't really care too much. The 15E were a decent group of guys who I liked in 63, and they kind of wanted to stay with the Grenadiers. So they as a result, they tried to recruit the 63 Grenadiers who weren't so sure. And well, me being me back then, I didn't really see anything too wrong with that, and actively tried to poach the members. We tried to reconcile with 63, but they never really wanted anything to do with me after that. Looking back, I was so ambitious, and I was so ends justify the
that's
means.
a common
I didn't really
theme.
care. It is a common theme, but for me, the ends justify the means because I was just ambitious with everything I wanted to do.
Now, what I'm curious about is, it's not like I think so I've poached before. I think I can't remember any specific instances, but I can't remember exactly when, but I know I have. Not too often though. I think it's something that people always look at as like it's really a frustrating thing, especially when you get poached. Because I've been poached from before too, and I think you have too, Ben Irish, and it's a really annoying thing when someone poaches one of your members. You want to like punch that person in the face.
Well, I guess it kind of shows them up what kind of person they are. They're not really loyal to the regiment anyway, But maybe if they
that
do
could
get
also
poached,
say
you wouldn't
something
want
too about the person leading. Like I can also think when I was leading my regiment, well, if they left because of that, at some level, I'm not doing enough of a job to make them feel like they're having an awesome time being in my regiment. Because that's really what it is. This regiment is a service. When we are in NW, we're providing a service to people, and they are partaking in that, Sometimes I think I can get warped with some leaders because I've seen some instances where people kind of get in like a cult mindset. But generally, that's how I feel like it is. It's kind of like a service we provide. We let people come on for events, we run a regiment, and we get rewarded with having the achievements, knowing that we had a big part to play in that. So Irish,
everybody's been poached from, and I think
yeah,
a lot of leaders have partook in the
yeah, it's something that it's like I bet you there's
behind the
saying
scenes
for that.
negotiations, I suppose, in terms of like, I don't know, offering ranks or whatever. But we're all hypocrites in this community. We're all hypocrites.
Yeah, I kind of want to leave this off on a positive note because this is going to be wrapping up the interview, and that's kind of would be a bad note to end on about poaching. But what's one regiment you really respect, and what's one leader you respect and why?
One regiment I respect. Oh God, who do
It's
I
like,
pick?
no, I hate all of them. They all suck.
Free advertising.
They didn't join my regiment. They all suck.
No, for
Damn
me,
it, Jim.
For me, it was always the 84th on the European side. The Colonel Smollett is a great guy.
Shout out to him at 84th.
Yeah, exactly. They're still going strong. They have a great, well, I believe he's Sergeant Major or Ensign, Sergeant William Jones or IEC on YouTube. Check him out. Every event that they do, he's recorded and put on YouTube, like countless hours of editing that he's doing, just to promote the regiment, and he's constantly posting in FC what their videos are and what what event they did and what regiment partook in it, and he just puts so much effort in, and